Hello, everyone. Just opened up a little bit early. We'll see who shows up. I'm not actually sure if I'll actually see who can show up using the tools I'm using. So I'm just going to check my, oh, looks okay. And I'm not sure if everybody can hear me. So
just a piece of wire up there.
So it's noon. I'm sure a few of you are on here. I'm going to just wait a minute to let other people get started. If you want to email me any questions you may have, I'm not sure if the commenting is working in the broadcast room. So let me know. So I don't know who's here. We'll just give it another minute before we get started. Thank you, Wei Ting. Great. Glad you can hear me. This is my first official webinar. I will be doing a few of these in the future, and I'm going to actually eventually be doing a webinar on how to do webinars, because I'm using a bunch of free tools to do this, and it'd be nice to teach startups how easy it is. So that's great. So I'm just going to give it another minute. We'll start at about 12:02. And actually, since you're here, I might as well. So this is coming out of, I teach a lot of workshops and crash courses, and I'm going to talk about those in a minute. And some of the feedback I get is sometimes I don't get to cover in detail some of these examples because of the questions and time runs out. So I'll be doing more of these webinars that are going to be fairly short, just to cover some tools and some research you should be doing ahead of time, and to make sure I bring home some points from my courses and whatnot. So feel free to ask questions. I'm going to talk, I think Wei Ting asked a question earlier about if you haven't configured SEO, where do you rank? And the answer, quite briefly, is really low because Google just guesses as to what's on your page, as to what your page is about. And that could mean anything. If you haven't optimized for SEO, it means you're going to be extremely, extremely low. All right, so let's get started. It's 12:02. So welcome to how to outrank the competition on Google. So the first thing I want to say is I'm the startup coach. I'm the founder of Toronto Starts. We're the largest startup community in Canada now, with over 16,000 active members. I do a lot of mentoring and coaching for startups. I've personally helped over hands-on coaching over 500 startups. And spoken to and helped over 50,000. I've created a bunch of workshops and crash courses around what the startups in my community need, the startups that are coming out of the starter company program that's done by the City of Toronto and several other startups, including idea validation workshop, which basically teaches how to validate the marketplace, validate the problem, validate your product, and validate willingness to pay. And when you can validate those four things, then you know you've got something. Follow that up with a business canvas workshop, where we take basically your business plan and map it to a one-page document. It takes about 20 minutes to complete. Once you learn how to do this, so you can map multiple business models and business ideas and figure out which one are the best and what areas you need to focus on, and easily communicate your business to other people. We follow that up with a marketing and PR workshop, where we bring multiple mentors in, and you sit down in small groups of 2 to 3, speaking to marketing and PR mentoring. There's no pitches, there's no presentations, they're just answering your questions. If you're looking how to do a press release, or how to do sales, how to reach first customer, how to discover your brand, come talk to these mentors. We switch up after 40 minutes, so you end up speaking with 3 mentors in an evening. Follow that up with a social media workshop, where it's the same thing, 3 mentors in groups of 2 to 3. You sit down. They're answering your questions and helping you grow your following, and then you switch. So you speak to 3 mentors in the night. We follow that up with Startup Law, where it's actually different. We bring in one mentor. Usually it's Alex Koch, the founder of Insight Legal, and she talks about the 10 things startups need to know about legal things: minute books, business structures, partnership agreements, shareholders agreements, IP, all the things. Most startups stick their head in the sand and wait till it's too late. It's good to know what you need to do, how to make sure you're safe, and how to protect yourself. Also do a growth hacking crash course, also do a social media crash course, and I also do an SEO crash course. This is a direct result of a question from Ryan, who was in my latest SEO crash course. So thank you, Ryan, for the suggestion. I'm following up with this. And in the new year, I'm going to be starting Google Analytics crash course, showing a bunch of people how to actually use Google Analytics as a tool and find out why things aren't converting. There's a bunch of quick, low-hanging fruit. I guarantee it'll be worth your money. If you don't know how to use Google Analytics, take a look. So I also do cryptocurrency podcast, run the cryptocurrency conference, and run startup talks. If you're into podcasts, check out the cryptocurrency podcast or the startup talk podcast. And since we're talking about SEO, if you're interested in backlinks and you have a startup here in the area and you have an active company and website, go to torontostarts.com, fill out the form to get yourself on the startup list. After a couple of weeks, I'll go through and add you, and that's another backlink you can have. All right, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about SEO. I'm gonna jump to a few tools here. So let's see how this works as I share different screens. But SEO all starts with a couple of things. It starts with authority, trust, relevance, and more lately, freshness. So Google considers over 200 factors when determining which sites rank higher in results. So you need, but the key things are, and the key things I'm going to work on, a couple of things we're going to talk about today is authority and relevance. But keep in mind that the big themes that Google rates you on is authority, trust, relevance, and freshness. So keep that in mind. We're going to talk about what authority is. Authority basically is still very powerful, but now must be used with the other principles I mentioned: trust, relevance, and freshness. Authority is almost a numbers game. If your site has 1,000 social media followers and backlinks, and your competition only has 50 social media followers and backlinks, you'll probably get higher authority and rank higher on Google. Make sense? It's one of the areas we're going to focus on today is authority and backlinks, and checking out your competition and finding out, what they're ranking for, what's driving their traffic, and if you can beat them. The next thing we're going to talk about, next subject area is relevance. Google looks at the contextual relevance of the site. So when the question was, if you don't optimize for SEO, what does Google, how do you rank on Google? Well, Google doesn't know if you don't tell it. If you don't put the meta tags in and the alt tags in and give it a right description and say, this is what this site is about, Google's going to scan it and guess on its own. So contextual relevance levels the playing field quite a bit between you and other businesses, and allows local businesses to rank higher, say, than a Wikipedia article. So keep that in mind. And relevance is what we're going to talk about is keywords. How are you driving the right keyword traffic to your site, and are the right keywords on your site? So let's keep that in mind. Keyword research is the most important step of SEO. So I cover most of this in quite a bit depth in my crash courses. So I'm going to go through this stuff very fast and then jump through some tools, which is the focus of what we're talking about today. So keyword research is the most powerful step in SEO for two reasons. If you rank your site highly for the wrong keywords, you can end up spending lots of time and effort only to discover the keywords you have targeted doesn't receive any traffic. So why spend 100 hours to find out you're only getting 1 click a month off of that? Is that worth it for you? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. If you haven't investigated the competitiveness of the keywords you're trying to rank for, you can end up investing lots of time and effort into particular keywords only to find out it's far too competitive to rank even on the first page. Now, I'm going to show you how to do that today, and how to rank on the first page and how to check competitiveness. So don't worry about that right now. What exactly is a keyword? A keyword is any phrase you'd like your site to rank for in Google search results. So we've all gone to Google or Bing or whatever we use and typed in local Starbucks, pizza, how to train my puppy, whatever, got results and clicked on the top 3 that looked relevant and, went there, bought something, that kind of stuff. So a keyword is any single word or phrase that you would type into Google to do a search. So when you're mapping those to your work, to your website, you probably want to have very specific contextual words that are intent related. I don't want to get into intent and non-intent keywords, but briefly, if you're looking for how-to manuals, how to do a webinar, how to do this, that's a different type of intent than saying how to buy, where to buy, what's the cheapest price of, that kind of stuff. That's a different kind of intent. One's kind of a learning, one's a buying intent. So keep those in mind when you're thinking keywords. So the keywords has to be on your page. The keywords has to be in your meta tags. It has to be in the title of your page. It has to be in some of the headlines. It has to be in the content of your text. So we want to make sure that the verbiage on our text, the copy on our page, and the meta tags and the title tags are all in sync to make sure Google knows what the page is about. And then we also want to make sure that we're doing with the right keywords that are actually going to drive the right traffic to our website. If all that makes sense, I'm going to jump over to my web browser here. I'm going to share a different screen. Share. I'm not sure what you can see right now, so give me a second. I want to share my browser window. Application window. This one. Share. Perfect. All right, so the first tool we're going to look at today is a tool called Ubersuggest. So if you don't know what it is, don't know where to go, just type it into Google. Hopefully, I'm just trying to see what kind of delay is here in Ubersuggest. And you see, it's right at the top. It's Neil Patel's Ubersuggest free keyword tool. Now, they've recently made a bunch of adjustments to it, so if you haven't used it in a while, it's worth taking a look at again. One of the things you want to make sure you do is change your search engine to the appropriate country. By default, it's used to say English US. I've used this enough, or it reads the cookies now to understand I'm coming from Canada, so it's English Canada. And since most people I train and teach are in Canada, you want to make sure you're looking at the Google Canada search results, not the Google US search results, because they'll be completely different. Let me take I'm going to do a search here for ergonomy. Now, people probably don't know what this is, but that's okay. It's an energy healing technique that my mother teaches. And we'll see, it's 10 searches per month. So you want to put into this tool the keywords that are relevant to your business and take a look at where they're ranking and look at search volume. How many searches per month are they doing? SEO difficulty. Does this look like it's going to be difficult to rank? If you're interested in paid per click, you can look at the paid per click and the cost per click if you're doing paid. This particular word is easy to rank for. There's a 69% chance you can rank in the top 20. I think it's much easier than that. But it's got a low search volume. This one's only got 10 searches per month. So even though this might be your topic in your field, if you don't know what it is, it's a type of energy healing. I use the site because if you see this number 2, Rev Gale, that's my mother's website, and it's way outdated, so you probably don't want to click through it. But she actually gets 1 click per month from that site. If you look under estimate visits, this is the estimated traffic this web page gets from Google for this particular term. She's ranked number 2. It gets approximately 10 searches per month, and at number 2, she gets 1 click per month. So how much time and effort is it worth for you to get that 1 click per month for this particular search? Now, obviously, you might be in different fields. that kind of stuff. It's not that hard to rank. I'm number 2 here. I've decided to do some other stuff to get more web traffic her way. This is a simple example to teach you how to take a look. Now, what we want to do on this one is to take a look at keyword ideas. So if you click over on the left, it's going to give you a bunch of different examples. There isn't any here, but that's okay. But because we want to go over to the right and take a look at, this is the SERP results, search engine results for the top 10, actually top 12 on the right. You can see that the number 1 site has a domain score of 50 and 10 social shares, where Rev Gale, my mother's site, has no social shares. She's not on any social media, and a domain score of 10. These things are easy to beat. So you want to take a look at these to find out exactly how difficult it is, where the domain ranks. The higher the number, the better. YouTube's 99. That's a high rank, but 10 is definitely not. So we're going to go over to Rev Gale's site for a second and take a look at the top here. I'm using a tool called SEO Quake Toolbar. And if you can see it here, you might not be able to in the window. I'll go to the extension later. It's an extension I put in the browser, Chrome browser, and allows you to see a whole bunch of diagnostic info on this site. But the only reason I click through it is at the top here, you can see that Google rank is 10. We mentioned that. It has 10 actual backlinks to it and 34 linking domains. So it actually has 10 backlinks and 34 linking domains. Now, this is coming from SEO Quake. This is somewhat of a little bit, these numbers are a little bit funky sometimes, but this is the idea, what you need to look at. If this has 34 backlinks, you need to beat that number of backlinks in order to rank higher than this site on Google. So that's it, really. You want to be relevant to the same name, and you want to have more backlinks. So let's go take a look at a couple other examples other than my mother's site, and a couple other reasons why you'd want to use this tool to do some searching. So I'm back here in Ubersuggest, and I did a search for cryptocurrency conference. If you don't know, I also run the cryptocurrency conference. Monthly Crypto started way back when cryptocurrency was hot. Take a look at the monthly searches on this. Back in January last year, it was over 210. If you went to December, it'd probably be much higher. But if you've been following the crypto market at all, it's been going to heck. So you want to take a look at your searches over time to figure if it's trending up or down, and if you missed the boat on this particular one. You can also see different keyword ideas, and they usually rank in volume. So let me actually take a look at these keyword ideas here so you can take a look. So this is 70 searches a month. The next one at Cryptocurrency Conference 2018 is 50 searches a month. The next one's 30 searches a month. As you get the idea, right? So, and you see the cost per click, and then you can see the competitiveness. So right now we're looking at the Cryptocurrency Conference. If we go over to the right on this tool, we can see the search engine results and look at the top 10. And if you scroll down just a little bit, on number 5 actually happens to be my site. Number 7 happens to be an Eventbrite of mine. Number 8 happens to be Eventbrite of mine. So you get an idea. I have 3 or 4 of these in the top 10 for this particular one. And these sites haven't been updated in a while. So it's not that hard to rank, but you want to take a look at, are you ranking for the right amount of searches, and how are we doing that? And looking at the backlinks of each of these sites to determine how many backlinks I need to beat the competition and get higher. The other thing you want to take a look at is taking a look at the search engine results as well. I'll go into incognito and do that search and look at the top 10 results and take a look at each of those sites. And if one of those sites is really crappy, or a bunch of them are, you know you can beat them. So basically, those are the key steps to outranking the competition on Google. Let me take a look at if I can give you another example. I did a quick Google search before, Uber search here before on how to train a puppy. It's getting 1,600 search volumes a month. That's pretty good. And an SEO difficulty of 18. which means there's a really good chance you can rank in the top 20 on this, or probably in the top 10, and get a decent amount of searches on the month. So this is great. So taking a step back, when I talk about SEO, I have multiple articles, multiple SEOs for multiple landing pages for different keyword phrases. So I wouldn't stop at one phrase, how to train a puppy. I'd take a look at all these different ones and potentially build different content for all of those. And I'll go take a look at ideas in a bit, but you get an idea that this is 1600 volume. Let's go take a look at the search engine results and what does that look like. So I clicked on a different button at the bottom here to take a look at search engine results, so it looks bigger. Starting your puppy off right is #1, and it's Caesar.com, dog training puppy, starting your puppy off right. I don't know enough about dogs and puppies to know whether this is a great thing or not. Like if that's a domain or that is valued in the dog puppy training industry. But this site, which ranks #1, again, if we remember, with 1,600 searches per month, it ranks #1. This gets an estimated almost 500 clicks based on that Google search. All right. So when you're optimizing, you don't think you're going to get those 1,600 clicks. You want to take a look. This one's #1. It's only getting 500. So that's only 30% of those clicks. This domain ranked is #49, and it has a whole bunch of social shares. So, you know, want to take a look and scroll down a little bit and say there's a couple here with no social shares or little, and there's a few here with much less domain ranking. So you want to keep those in mind to take a look at which ones of these we can beat, how many links I need to get back. For example, let me go to this one, domain 30, how to train Purina. That's dog food. This is probably going to have a lot of links because it's Purina dog food. But let's take a look at the top. Doesn't seem like this particular page has a lot of direct backlinks, but there's a lot of backlinking domains to this site. So nobody's actually linking to the site, but because this is this page, but because this is about dogs, has a lot of dog and pet content, and has a lot of other domains linking to the domain as a whole, it gets traffic. You can beat this by getting more links directly to this page on your site and having a much better article. Now, here's a couple other tips. If you take a look, this was ranked #8. There's very little content here about how to train a puppy. Very little. So if you want to rank high, take a look at the first few. Let's go take a look at the one that was #1 and see how much information here. Be a pack leader, housebreaking, dog walking. Again, not a lot of content. So if I wanted to rank #1 on this, I think I could. I would go to each of the top 10 sites. I see how much content they've written, and I would write the absolute how to train puppy guide that has, 20 steps that talks about all these things plus more. I would create a 2,500, 3,000, 10,000 word article. It might take me all weekend, might take me a week, or I might outsource it to somebody. But that would putting the right keywords, putting it in the meta tags, putting in the right thing, having that rate of content. And once I publish it, I get it linked back as many possible places that are promoting puppies. Anybody does puppy meetups, anybody does events, any Facebook groups where they're talking about puppy training. I'd go on them and link back and get all those backlinks back to this. And within 60 to 90 days, this would outrank almost anybody on the first page. So I hope I didn't go too fast. I covered a lot of stuff. So hopefully that was useful. Again, this was to kind of supplement some of the material I was doing in the course. If you found that useful, that's great. I would love your feedback. I'm going to share a different, go back to my slides now. Share. So take a look at growthhacktoronto.com, torontostarts.com. You guys all have my email. It's craig@torontostarts.com. I've got a lot of events and training. If you have more questions, if you'd like to see more webinars, I'd love feedback on this one. It's my first one. So I'm going to fix volume a little bit more and do some more testing for the next one, and probably have some comments below. So any feedback on what I can do better would be great. And if you have SEO questions, growth hacking questions, startup questions you'd like answered in the webinar in the future, send them to me. It'd be really helpful. Thank you very much. Appreciate all your time today, and hopefully this was helpful to you. Again, we'll see you soon. And if I don't talk to you, have a great holiday season.